Hello. This is MA Tech Tips. In this video, we will see how to use overlay latex editor to draw an electrical circuit and to insert such a beautiful electrical circuits in our documents, assignments, or thesis work or reports. We can use latex to draw such an electrical circuits in overlay latex editor. So we will see step by step how to draw such electrical circuits in overlay. So I will start from for a blank project. The first thing we should do is just we should add the package which help us to draw circuits. The name for the package was circuit IKZ. I will use package circuit IKZ. This is the name of the package. Then after adding the package, then we can start to draw the circuit. So I will start from this one. We will start from some simple circuit. The first thing is just we should start begin to make it center. I will use center for this case, yes, which help us to put our circuit in the center. So I will put all the circuits inside this center environment. Then I will begin with the circuit IKZ environment. So I will say begin, then circuit IKZ. So I will say tab. Then it has the begin environment. The environment has begin circuit IKZ, end circuit IKZ. So I will draw my circuit inside this environment. I will start backslash draw. Then after putting this backslash draw, we should specify the circuits, the number of circuits, I mean the circuit coordinates. So I will start from 0, 0, from 0, 0 to, then the next coordinate should be, let's say 0, 4. Now, if I run this one, it will draw a line between 0, 0 to 0, 4. Now you see it draws a vertical line from 0, 0 to 0, 4. If I want to put an element on this line, let's put a voltage source. So I will use the square bracket is from 0, 0 to 0, 4. Then inside the circuit, the square bracket, I will put the name of the circuit. I will start from the voltage source. So it should be the voltage source. I will specify the name of the voltage source. Then maybe I should write American. I will show you the difference between American and European standard. This is just the standard to put the voltage source. Now it adds the voltage source on this line. So if I want to label the voltage source, I can after the voltage source, I mean comma, then just label the name which should be labeled, I mean specified. So this is just the voltage source. Let's say V. Then I will execute this one. Now this is the voltage source. Now if I have the voltage source, then if I need some resistance from this circuit, it starts 0, 0 is this one and 0, 4 is this one. If I want to continue to the horizontal with some element, let's say the resistor. So for this one, I will put the resistor element on this line. Then this is the first line. So for the second line, from now the top point is 0, 4. So I will start from 0, 4. From 0, 4 to the next point, it's like there should be maybe 4, 4. Okay, from point 4, comma 4. So then I will specify the element. For the element, I will use resistor. Now let's compile this one and see what it contains. Okay, for the resistor, oh, I didn't write with the correct spelling for the resistor. Now I add the resistor. Then even in this case, I can label this one, label L, which is equals to, in the dollar sign, inside the dollar sign, I will put R. Let's say R1. Maybe I will another resistor next. This is labeled with R1, or even we can R1 underscore with R underscore 1, which makes the subscript to the number 1 to a subscript. This one, okay. Now I specify the circuit. Then if I want some short circuits, I can say, let's say if I want to draw a short circuit here, then I can specify that way, or maybe from this point, then from 4 I have just 4, then 2. The next point should be, let's say, 0 for x. I mean, just for x, it should be 4, but for y, it should be 0. Then in between, if I don't want to put anything, I can say just short circuit. It should be short. Now it draws a line, which is just a short circuit. Then from this point to this point, we can put another short or just any element that we need. But I need to put a short, then 2 again, then put the coordinate that should be 0, 0, 0, 0. Then this is the last point, so I will put semicolon at the end. Then again I will put short. In this case, it is just short with a square bracket. I will represent short. But in on this point, I want to represent the current, just current flows in this direction. If I want to specify, now I have this voltage source. It flows from this point to this point to this point. So if I want to specify some current direction on this point or here somewhere else, what I should do is just label with short. Then after short, for the label, I will use I in this case to specify current I, which will label the short circuit with current, which has a direction on the current flow. Then I underscore, so just it should be the same with, then I can put the label with a dollar sign. Inside the dollar sign, I can say current I. Now this short draws a short line, a line which is just short. I don't have any element on this part, but it has an arrow which specifies the direction of the current flow I. The reason for this one is just for the label I use I, not L, I, which is the same as current I. Now this is some simple circuit. We can draw any kind of electrical circuits in such a way. So to now I will draw this circuit a bit more complex circuits. It contains a diode, the potentiometer, an inductor, capacitor, resistor, current source. So to draw this electrical circuit, the first thing I can do is just even I can start from this point, then I can draw a short, then voltage source, then resistor, then an inductor, then resistor. But on the second line, I have an inductor, current direction, and here is just an open circuit. So I will draw this circuit now. But the second option, I mean the second diagram. So for this one, I will write at the same way to put it in the center. I will backslash begin with center, inside center backslash begin, then circuit, the circuit key T CircuiTikz package. So in this package, let's start backslash, then draw the line, then after draw, I will put the semicolon, the last one. So everything in this in between draw and this semicolon will be just draw. So the first thing I will start from 0, 0, okay, from 0, 0, then it should be from 0, 0 to second point. Let's say that is just 0, comma, for x it should be, let's say 10 to make it a bit, let's say 8 comma 0, then it should be short. Now I have this horizontal short line. For this one, for the circuit here, it starts with a dot, and but it doesn't have anything on the other side. These two dots represent this the open circuit for finally. So if I want to put such kind of dots, I can say here next to the short comma, then it should be a star, then a line, which means just it starts with dot and the line doesn't end. So I will compile this one and show you. It will have a point here. Now I have the dot. Then from this point to the next thing is just to, now I want to put the voltage source. The voltage source should be an American voltage source. American voltage source. I will label this one. That is just a voltage source. Label as a voltage source V1. That's just a voltage source. We'll compile this. It should be a square bracket for the source. So the next point, let's say for X, that is 8. The same with this point. Then for Y, I will do, let's say, from 0 to maybe 3. I will compile this one. Now I have the voltage source V1. Then after this voltage source, the circuit contains a resistor. Then it contains the current source. I mean the direction for the current. Then I have this one, then 2 again. Now I will use this square bracket and I have a resistor. I will write resistor, then I will label L, the underscore used to represent on the outside of the resistor. Then it is the same with a square bracket, it is just resistor R1. Let's start from this point. Now it contains another resistor to the next point. I didn't represent the end point, that's why it connects from this point, it directly connects to the original point from 0, 0, because I didn't point the last point, but the last point should be 8, comma, let's say maybe 6, should be just a vertical line. Now I have this R1, I have the voltage V1, and it is just short. Now from this point, I want to represent the current source. Here I have the voltage source, then the resistor, then I have some short with the direction of the current. So let's content this one. Let's draw this short line, then I will do the next thing. Okay, now let's draw again this one to the next point. The next point should be for y. For x, it should be, let's say, 7 or maybe 7. Then for y, it is the same with the previous one, that is 6. From this point to this. Now in between, I need a short. It should be just short, but I need to represent with or label with the current I. Then it should be current I. Then the label should be with a dollar sign. Let's say that is just current I1. I will represent current I1. Okay. Now I have the current I1. Okay, I will finish this the first part. This is just the first circuit. I start from this point, I draw the short line, then the voltage source, then the resistor, then this. So the second thing is just I want to draw this open source, the open circuit. Then I will draw this resistor, this inductor, and again this inductor for the final point. Okay, now I will move this one. Then after this, let's start again with the other one. Okay, now this is the reference point that I start from. So I will start from again from 0, 0, from 0, comma 0, from 0, 0 to other point should be from 0, 0 to for x it is the same with 0, but for y that is just 6. It should be the same level. I want to go to this point. So in between, what I need is just that is an open circuit. This should be an open circuit. So this is open, comma, it should be labeled with a voltage V. So I will say voltage V. Then for the voltage, I will represent this one with, let's say, V1. The first one, this V1 should be, if since it is a source, let's represent it with E1 to identify from this point. Okay, and open, it should be open, which is the same with, then with the dollar sign, it should be V underscore 1. Okay, let's compile this one. Now I have the voltage and open circuit, but this is represented with the mixed one. This is European standard, but I use here the American standard, so I should say here the American standard. In the general circuits, I can put for the voltages, I can say American voltage. Yes, which means just that is standard. So in this case, even I can remove this American, because that's already the whole circuit is based on this American voltage. So now this from the American standard, now the open circuit, it gives the open circuit and it represents with this plus and this minus. So now I have the open circuit. I draw this open circuit and I label with some variable Vs. I have this V1. I represent this one with this V1. Now from this point, I want to represent with short circuit to represent this current source. I mean the current flow direction. Then I will represent the resistor, then the inductor. Okay, let's say now from this point to the next point is just from this point to it should be for x, let's move 1 point, then just for y that is just 6. In between I need a short circuit that should be short, and the short should be represented with a current source, I mean the current flow direction. So I will represent that is just with current. Let's say this one is I2, because I represent I1 here, I will represent here I2. Okay, now I have this short circuit. Then for this short, again I can put this little dot at the end for this short. So for here I will represent start and line. Yeah, now I put this dot, little dot, then I have the current source I2. Okay, this is from 1. Then from 1 to again, then I need to represent the resistor from 1 6 to the next point should be, let's say for x, let's say 3. Okay, yeah, to 3 comma 6 I need resistor. So here the element should be just from that point to that I need an element. The element is just the resistor, and I will label the resistor with R2 because I represent here with R1. Then I will say that is just R2. Now I have the second circuit, the resistor R2. Then from the resistor I need to an inductor again. From this resistor to from this to the next point is the point that I want to connect to this point. This point is 6, I mean 7 and 6. That is this point, the end point with this one, 7 6. So this point should be the same with 7 comma 6 to 7 6. What is the element I need? The element I need is an inductor. That should be inductor. The inductor should be labeled with an inductor L. Let's say L. That should be an inductor. Now I have an inductor, a resistor, these two sources. Let's compare with the tutorial that we need. Now I have the resistor, the inductor. The second thing is just I need only this resistor, and it should be represented with also the current flow direction should be represented. Now from this 7 6 point, from this point I have this point, then I need to have a short. The next it should be this from that to the next point. Let's say the height is just 6, so let's say 3 until 3. Okay, let's say for x it should be 3. I mean this for x it should be 7. It should be 7. For y it should be 3 until this point. Now I need a short in between this one. That is just that should be short circuit, and it should be represented with the current source, the current flowing direction I, which is equals to with a dollar sign. I will represent that is I1, I2. It should be I3. Okay, let's say this one is I3. Now I have this is the I3, and from I3, from this point to the last point, what we need is the capacitor. So from that one to from that to the last point is that should be 7 comma 0 for y. That should be 0. But the element I need in between is an inductor. Inductor that should be labeled with yes, an inductor that should be labeled with an inductor, which is equals to with a dollar sign, that is just an inductor L. Okay, now I have this inductor, but the problem here is, as we see here, the name inductor is just added to here. Yeah, here L2 is already coincide with the voltage source, but I can put this L2 on the other side. Put this one to put this L2 on this side. On the other side, what I need is on the label. This is just a label L. So if I say L underscore, it should be in the reverse direction. So this L2 should be written on this side, as you see here. You can do this for this one. If for R1, if I say just the label underscore, this R1 R2 should be on the bottom, this L1 should be, so you can change the label and the direction. So this is the circuit that we need to plot on this one. This circuit is just the same with this one. Okay, now after this one I will show you some of the circuits, the common circuits that we can plot just with the names, just to represent how to draw them. The first thing we can change here is we can change the voltage source to some European standard. If I say this one, the American to European, the European standard, Now you will see the difference between. So now this is the European standard for open circuit, and this is the European standard for a voltage source. This is the first thing that we can change. So always you should check the standard that you use. Then the second thing is we can put, even for this one, the voltage source, we can even, let's say, can put the battery. If I need some battery here, now the previous thing was I put this one to short circuit, right? But in this case, I need some battery. So in this case, I can say this is just a battery. If I say this is just a battery, what it should be, we will have a battery symbol on this circuit. So we can update as we want for the circuit. And the other thing here we notice here is just for the battery. This is kind of a double battery. So if I need a single battery, just only one, I can say just on the battery, I can add one, which gives only just one battery. That's just from the standard. Now I see this is just a battery. We can represent another element. We can add some different elements just for inductors. Let's say this an inductor. If we need a capacitor, we can easily say capacitor on the place of inductor. If I represent this one with a capacitor, what it will happen was a capacitor. So it should be just capital C, let's say. Now this will be a capacitor. As we see, this one is a capacitor. So easily, just using this CircuiTikz environment, just put the two coordinates from and just two. Then in between the coordinates, put the name of the circuit that the element that you need to represent in between these 2 points, and that should be in the square bracket. That's just the general standard for this circuit element, CircuiTikz package to draw electrical circuits in overleaf. So you can draw any electrical circuit using this package. Yes, the elements that we can draw in this are, we can represent the transformers, the diode, different kind of diodes, potentiometers, these circuits, lamps, ammeters, even some measurement tools. I can represent, let's say, if I want to measure the current, I can add a current source here, the I3. If I want to measure the current source from after I3, let's say I1, this is, where is I3? I2 now, I have the I3 from to 7.3. I can, maybe this one is this 7.1. Let's say 7.2. Then from 7.2 again, I can say to the next point. The next point should be 7.3, 7.3, 7.3, and I can add in between with the square bracket a ammeter. The ammeter. So we can add an ammeter here. This is, yes, this is an ammeter now added. You can change the length of the position of this element. We can specify where you need to put this ammeter, but it's possible to add the ammeter on this circuit or the voltmeter. That's also possible. We can add the voltmeter, we can add the ammeter, we can add the current source for such circuits. For in order to show this one easily, I will add this one, the voltage source for the American voltage source. If I can say, if I say this one is just the current source, now you will see we can change the voltage source with the current source. That's easy. Can say this one is to the current source. We can represent current source, voltage source, these passive elements, inductor, capacitor, the measuring elements, the voltmeter, ammeter, or some transistors, the tripolar elements, transistors, resistors, different elements, different electrical circuit elements. You can use this package and draw such an electrical circuit in with these easy steps in overleaf latex. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. Bye bye.